Gotta do that before you start, normally. Okay. Welcome. Wish it would retain focus like that. Welcome to the Zatch Bell 2 Chapter 36 discussion stream. I think that should be alright. To see chat. Actually, let me see if I can log in to my Gmail here. I also want to give anyone who wants to watch a little time to come in, because I do plan to kind of make this a bit of a quick one. So spamming my emails with like probably notifications about this. I'm gonna get in here so I'm gonna log in so I can link the stream as well. So the stream is not appearing on the control panel, which I wonder if maybe it thinks I am doing a different, if I'm on a different YouTube account than than I should be on. Okay, we're just gonna do it. Yeah, streaming software connected. That's what I'm trying to. Okay, whatever. I will find the stream and link it. I actually have in front of me on the TV this live, this guy climbing live on Netflix. This guy Alex Honnold. I remember the documentary about him a long time ago, and he's free climbing the Taipei 101 building, and I think that's pretty cool. So I just wanted to have that on. Good look at. He's actually almost at the top right now. I think it's just going to be a few minutes. Okay, let me link the stream. And then we'll get started, because I want to make this pretty quick so my friends have plans. We're gonna watch a movie, I think old Japanese movie. Don't know much about it. Okay, let's link the old stream. Okay, so we'll get started. So when we left off, we were right at the end of this conflict concerning Cuffy and Ellaby, who are these two cards, as we call them, that they're working for the enemy side, but we very quickly find out that they are actually good guys who want to escape. And in the process of doing that, we kind of hit some snags. And it kind of seems like Ellaby is going to die. But before she dies, she sort of unlocked her powers and is now using them to beat the bad guys before that happens. Okay. So yeah, she had been using magic to do some really gnarly, kind of disturbing things to this old guy, Gilliam, the villain who was fighting. The final one left. And it seems like she's about to really kind of deal the final blow. So there's this big explosion that's coming out at them that Gilliam made. And it's sort of enveloping them. It's sort of like probably kill them if it hit them. But Ellaby points at it with kind of the Kyo fingers and goes, "Reverse!" There's tears coming down her face. and the energy from the explosion literally stops and then kind of streams backwards towards Gilliam, and it doesn't hurt any of our people. The energy that was released in the explosion is reverting back to its original state? Could such a thing really be possible? So it reverts back first to, I think, the spell element, which is like the Baraitsu Robnos spell element. And then it turns into the orb that, it might be Gilliam's orb or his core. The explosion goes all the way back to that. And then Gilliam just starts fading away. We don't really see that it was so much an attack, but it probably, I don't know. I think the force of the explosion did kind of affect him there. So he starts fading away. He doesn't even say anything. He's gone. So Cuffy and Ellaby are kind of standing there. Ellaby's core, which is in her forehead, starts to crack. And they're holding hands. Cuffy, my orb, do you think you could complete it for me someday? After all, throughout this entire ordeal, your rope saw everything they needed to, right? I hear you, loud and clear. I'll make it happen, Ellaby. I swear. So some interesting dialogue here. A, some hope, maybe, that we'll see Ellaby again. B, this interesting thing about Cuffy's ropes maybe having some sort of will or memory, which would make it easier for him to replicate what he did with Ellaby today in the future, potentially. So that would be cool if that happened. So moving on. Gash, Jillnose, and to all the other demons of the demon world, I'm so sorry for everything I've put you through. Ellaby, none of this was ever your fault. So right then, she just fades away, and then her body kind of dissipates, and as it dissipates, it sort of turns back into the alter ego mummy mannequin doll kind of thing that Jillnose had created as her new body. Sort of splits apart, all the bandages kind of come off and then float away in the wind. Jillnose cries, Luna is crying, Zatch is crying, but also determined. We've seen that kind of expression from him before. And watching it all is the sort of spirit of the Thunder Dragon. This guy's still climbing. He's at the top of the building now. He's like gonna just climb the like antenna of it or something. I think I'm actually not sure what part he's at. Okay. So yeah, the Thunder Dragon, which definitely, we've seen it observing once before, just as this eye that kind of materializes. No one ever notices it. Kyo was sleeping the first time it did that, if I recall. Now it's just kind of up in the sky. Clearly seems to have, cognizance, kind of a mind of its own. And it's, judging, I think, if, their worthiness, basically, is what it seems to be. If it's worthy of giving them its powers. It, hasn't fully done that yet. And it dissipates, also. So Ellaby's core fully shatters, she fully fades away, and she leaves this pair of sunglasses, which Cuffy takes. Gash, Kiyomaro, Jillnose, Luna, thanks for all your help. I'll find a way to repay you someday. And when I do, it's going to be huge. But for now, don't forget that we're still enemies. That's, barely true. They're not really enemies. So he puts on the sunglasses, which, funnily enough, someone actually predicted this. The guy who does on the Discord, who does the bingo cards, actually did predict this. And man, I really thought they were going to get a bingo this time. I don't think they've ever gotten one. They came really close. It's all just down to, the order that things go in. Look at it one day. He undoes the rope magic that is binding his own core, which keeps him from being seen by Belial, and he yells out to Belial. I've untied the rope that was wrapped around my orb. You can hear me now, right? I'm ready to go back. If you're going to punish me, go right ahead. It's not like I can even have a life without this orb anyway. And Belial does summon him back. He starts to be enveloped in light, and he looks at Zatch and Kyo, everyone's resolute. All three of them are very resolute. He's got the sunglasses on. They're determined. He's gonna continue the fight somehow, even though doesn't really have much power right now against Belial or anything. So that's it. We leave them in Brazil. Brazil arc is over. With, of course, Apollo is behind. You can see in that tiny final panel there, Apollo standing behind everybody else, not getting any dialogue or anything to do. Later in Japan, so whoa, suddenly, without any fanfare, this is crazy. Very Makoto Raikou to do it this way. We're back in Mochinoki for the first time in the series. Saying that partially for the benefit of my friend who might be watching this who doesn't really follow this series. This is all of a sudden, we're back home for the first time in the series after just a later in Japan text box. That's all the fanfare for this exciting development. So Tio casts Saifogio on Kyo. It heals him. Phew, you're a lifesaver. Thank you, Tio. Thanks, Megumi-san. Please stay as long as you like. That's Kyo's mom. So, Jill Nose is back in action? I bet her spells really took you by surprise, huh? Yeah, I was already impressed that she mastered a spell for making physical bodies. But a spell that produces a functional clone of someone else. That's on a whole other level. And we're clearly gonna, get more utility out of that in the future. Acheron wanted us to find Jill Nose because of her ability to make clones. That's the power we were really after, wasn't it? No. Acheron knows that even though he can't actually move, the clone from the Aru Terrago spell wouldn't have that problem. He'd even be able to cast his spells with it. This is very exciting, that Acheron is looking for a way where he can join the fight and continue to protect the people in the Dragon Fort. Yeah, no, we don't get to see, listen... I try to keep the kind of negativity down on this stream. Obviously, this is not how I would have done this. Showing Kyo's mom for just one panel, even she clearly had a very strong connection to Zatch in the original series. We don't get to see them meet again. Do I get it? Not really. But it is what it is. That's just what I'm gonna say at this point. I'm not too surprised it's being done this way. Let's just say that. Based on the way the series has gone, specifically with this series, we've kind of come to learn, well, these are the strengths of this specific Zatch Bell 2 series. These are the weaknesses of the Zatch Bell 2 series. I'm not super surprised. That's reassuring. We better go round up his book wielder ASAP then. I didn't realize the time. I've got to get going. You're not going to join us when we go potato digging, Megumi? Sorry, I've just got too much on my plate right now. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to help us out. Sure. Don't forget to call or text me when you're heading home, okay, Tio? Yay, it's Takamine-kun, this is later on. Huh? What? Gash-kun? And that beautiful young lady, is that Tio-chan? Hey, it's been a while. Yeah, I don't know, Zatch Bell Gamer, if we can say that that's because of the monthly pace. If it's simply because Raikou has never focused too heavily on the, kind of moment-to-moment interactions between his characters. Or maybe because his priority with Zatch Bell 2 is just to have a heavy focus on the action story, except when he does comedy parts like we're about to see. But yeah, there is kind of a question of okay, if we're getting into the section that we're about to get into where they're doing this stuff with potatoes for a while, then we couldn't have taken some of that time to have some other scenes there. But I don't know if it's because of the monthly pace. Raikou and his team are fully self-sufficient. They can make their own decisions, I think, and do pretty much whatever they want to do. I don't think I had bad posture. I don't think they really need to be making any decisions for anyone but themselves, and I hope they're not. I hope their decisions are just simply all made towards making the best series that they possibly can. So who's talking? Who's Kyo saying, hey, it's been a while too? Oh my god, it's Mizuno Suzume. aka Susie in the dub. Nakamura, Susie's friend, who has this little girl with her. Iwashima, the small man who likes UFOs. And Yamanaka, Kyo's tall, sporty friend. We're also seeing them for the very first time, getting a little more fanfare than the other characters or the town itself, but still pretty surprising. You know, we're not getting any big reveal of Suzume being a nurse or having any surprising thing about her. She's just these guys are just here. They're just here to see us. Pretty safe to assume you're married now, huh, Nakamura? Yes, my last name was changed to Akiyama. And this little one's name is Nagisa. Well, I've always called you Mariko-chan, so nothing about that needs to change. Yep. I love Susie's dub voice. I can't emulate that. I can't try to imitate that. I do really like her dub voice. I forget what the actress's name who did that was. So I had a funny blooper page that had Megumi say, "Don't forget to mail me a letter when you're heading home." Oh, interesting. What, you just made that just for funsies? Okay. How about we get started then? We're in June now, so new potatoes are officially in season. Now let's dig them up under this clear blue sky and savor every last bite. The ones with the brown leaves are ready to be harvested. So I don't know if she owns this potato farm. She kind of has like a kind of a farming getup, sort of. So they're pulling these potatoes out of the ground. Right now, that's the thumbnail. The potatoes are the thumbnail. I might make another thumbnail in the future because I have a good idea for it. But they're picking these potatoes. Unu, I've got some. You pulled out a bunch of them all at once, Gash-kun. So Tia's attempting to pull these potatoes out. She keeps snapping the stems. It's potato time, baby. This is a great chapter for my friend who's not heavily following the series to come in on. There is some good, fun stuff later in this, though, so looking forward to that. But for now, it's potatoes. So she keeps pulling the stems out. I'm sure I've got it this time. If I just pull nice and easy. So this is kind of interesting because we're not being told who these thought bubbles are coming from. Clearly, the first one is Tia, but the second one is saying not like that. She's yanking it out with all the strength of a superhuman. So I think that's probably a Kyo thought bubble. Is my my thought. Tio, try reaching into the soil and scooping up a big handful instead. Okay. She does that. She's happy about it. Hey, everyone's having fun. They're all giving thumbs up. We saw this panel, I think, when they announced the sudden chapter delay. There was another delay since the previous chapter. We had another month-long delay. This one, which was not planned, not part of the usual, 3 months on, 1 month off schedule. And when he shared this, he posted this panel of Kyo, Zatch, Yamanaka, and Iwashima kind of giving thumbs up, and there were some weird drawings on them, which ended up being filled in by the assistants as the potatoes. And I had actually forgotten about this. Before the chapter came out, I'd forgotten, even though it was pretty likely that this is from a chapter and not a Zatch Cafe. I was, for some reason, was not oh, this is the chapter we're going to go back to Mochinoki. I don't know what I thought when I saw that. Maybe I was busy or something when I saw it, but I do remember seeing it. That's interesting. There are 2 Akiyamas that we know in the Zatch Bell series. Huh. I don't know. Maybe it is maybe it's not a coincidence. Okay. So they're all having fun, cleaning the potatoes. So what have you all been up to? I'm a registered nurse now. So Susie is a nurse. We're happy to hear that. We heard that in the extra Gash Cafe chapter that was at one of the pop-up shops or something. Oh, he just climbed a crazy part of the building. He's almost there. I'm a housewife, and I love to farm as a hobby. Okay, so she does not own the farm. She just comes here, I guess. I work at an electrical company now. I do work for Mochinoki Construction, and I also play in our company baseball league. When I went over to Takamine-kun's house to install their new TV set... Who's saying that? That's not Hiroshima. It is Hiroshima. His mom told me he'd be coming home soon, see? So we all decided to get together and throw a last-minute potato party for old time's sake. All right, let's get boiling. We already put the pot. Huh? Wait, what? Are there really no pots in here? I see butter, tableware, you name it. But not one pot? Can't talk to you now, Mom. Sorry. I knew she would call, too. So I was just texting her earlier, and I was like, she's going to call me later about this. If she calls again, I'll have to text her that I'm busy. Didn't anybody bring one? So you can see they're kind of playing out the theatrics a little bit, given what we learn later on. Hold on, they just texted me. Yeah, they're fine. Okay, moving on. Oh, what a disaster. The only big container we have is a colander. There's nothing here that we can substitute for a pot. What should we do? If we can't boil the potatoes, we'll have nothing to eat. And the kid's crying. Oh, Nagisa, please don't cry. What drink? There's a drink? Okay. Now, hold on a second. We've got Kiyomaru Takamine-kun here with us. And he's an archaeology professor, isn't he? Then I'm sure he can make a pot out of clay. We can use that to boil the potatoes. Wait, he can't be serious, can he? And we're in luck, because it just so happens I bought some clay with me to make some pottery. Has like a big 50-kilogram bag of clay. What's with this guy? He forgets to bring any pots, but packs an entire bag full of clay? You've got this, Takamine. We believe in you. Okay, no problem. What style of pot do you want? Jomon? Or maybe Yayoi? Take your pick. He's getting peer pressured. Oh, my drink? Oh, this is just soda. This is Coke from Burger King. Had an original chicken sandwich tonight. Saturday is my fast food night. So he's now making this pot, layering this pot. I bet it must feel awesome to play in a corporate baseball league, huh, Yamanaka? Well, the competition's crazy intense. I'm more of a bench warmer, really. Being an adult has its perks. This is Iwashima again. Nothing beats being able to buy whatever you want with your own paycheck. Just last week, I ordered these 2 machines for summoning UFOs from some sketchy Russian and American websites. I got both for the combined price of 800,000 yen. Money really can buy happiness, can it? So yeah, that is about $8,000, I believe. At least in the generally. People say remove 2 zeros. I know it's probably not fully exact, but that's, close enough to understand the price here. So, note to self, never leave this guy in charge of any money. Really interesting part right here. Would you still want to be more than just good friends with Takamine-kun, Suzume? I mean, I'd really love to, but it might just annoy him if I'm too persistent about it. And it doesn't help that Takamine-kun is always traveling to other countries every chance he gets. It's just so hard to keep up with him all over the world. And sounds like it'd be pretty tough. I think Zatch knows that, being the one going with Kyo all over the world. Tia thinks, I wonder if that's why Megumi and Kiyomaru have drifted apart so much. What an insensitive jerk. So, a lot of some important fan questions have been answered, Makoto Raikou has never seemed to care so much about shipping, but I think he decided to grace us this day, or grace the people who care, with questions about the main pairings for Kyo in the series. Kyo and Suzume is a pairing that many people would have denied that Raikou was even hinting at in the original series. There are a lot of people who kind of said, oh, they're just good friends. I never felt too strongly about it. I always thought that between Kyo and Suzume and Kyo and Megumi, Kyo and Suzume was the one that Raikou was clearly kind of touching on. Kyo and Megumi was just kind of teenage embarrassment from Kyo, he's around this good-looking idol, and I know it was something that on Megumi's side, the anime played up way more than Raikou did in the manga. I know there was some stuff there. But I think this is the first confirmation in either series that yes, there was, something there. Oh, he climbed. He reached the top of the antenna. That's crazy. There was something there. There were feelings from Suzume towards Kyo, and it seemed pretty, like possibly pretty well known feelings, seeing how Mariko just brings it up and says, "Hey, would you want to, be with him if you could?" With Zatch and Tia there and everything. And then Suzy answering very honestly, somewhat sadly. So, what is Raikou doing, putting this scene here? We don't really know. Does he intend to follow up on this? Does he, like you said, Zatch Bell Gamer? Excuse me. Does he just kind of want to confirm that Kyo is probably going to be a bachelor because he's a world traveler and now he's caught up in this massive conflict? We don't really know. I don't recall hearing that, Zatch Bell Gamer. That would be interesting if you can find that. I don't remember that. Maybe that was on the blog or something. You said the Q&A or maybe from that special chapter. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be very interesting to see that. But in any case, this is the first time we're really addressing either of these pairings in the manga itself. So we are getting that. I think that's kind of a nice thing to have sort of discussed a little bit. I think this is only going to ignite the fires of passion even more for some fans. But for me, hey, whatever. I'm glad it was addressed. All right, let's boil them all at once over some super hot charcoal. So they finish this really beautiful, ornate, ancient Japanese pot. Huh? Where'd that little clay figure come from? Nagisa made it with some extra clay we had left over. She did a great job on it, don't you think? Apparently, her kid is a little artist. She made this... I forget what these things are. I don't think those are Haniwa. They're like Jomon clay figures. There's a Pokemon, I think, named Claydol that's based on these. But I think Haniwa are slightly different clay things. Okay, now crank the temperature up to 800 degrees. 40 minutes later. Good. The pot is finished. So they're still making the pot. They're just heating up the pot. They haven't boiled the potatoes yet. This is obviously kind of, I think, meant to give vibes of the curry chapter, the camp curry chapter from the original series. Let's boil those potatoes. Yay, they're all done. Okay, so then they're eating potatoes. We got a shot of everyone eating a potato. They're all really enjoying themselves. This has gone way better than the curry went. This is been a substantially better turnout than the curry chapter. So, yep, these potatoes are awesome. Freshly harvested potatoes simmered in a homemade clay pot. Handmade. What recipe could be better than that? And the beer tastes even better now that we worked up a sweat. It feels like we're always making unforgettable memories whenever Takamine-kun is around, huh? Iwashima, you left the pots at home on purpose, didn't you? No, this really is tasty. Especially with all the butter on top. I know, I can't get enough of it. So Tia now thinks, I really want to get together and do something like this in the demon world too. With everyone. As soon as we possibly can. So, that's the point of the scene, I guess, right? Have little levity for our characters, especially the Mamoto characters who have suffered through a lot. They talk to them about TM Lee a little bit in the final panel. So, yeah, Zatch Bell Gamer says, that's what I love about this callback so much. When Raikou first made the curry chapter, he ended it with a depressing message for the reader about things not working no matter how much you try. Now, when Raikou's in such a good place in life, he brings it back with a more uplifting result. Yeah, that's a nice way to look at it. I think he also, wouldn't want to put the characters through, cooking suffering when they're already going through other suffering during this conflict. 1 week later, they spent the whole week in Mochinoki. Hello, Takamine residents. Consomme, great to hear from you. Is everybody doing well over there? Yeah, Consomme, Fulgore, Zelly, Olmo, and Mippy, a lot of people, are still here with me, and they're all doing great. But the reason I called is so I can tell you what our next plan of attack is going to be. Consomme is the man with the plan, apparently, right now. We see Fulgore in the background playing with the Mamoto kids. Plan of attack? Yep, it's a mission to take back a certain spell bottle. Did they find it? We went to go see what was going on in the demon world a little while ago. That's when we started talking about the spell bottles. So, Conchame and Fulgore went to see Acheron. According to the map Momon drew for us, the bottled spell I really want is being kept inside a castle somewhere. There are actually a lot of other good spells being stored there, but the one I'm looking for is Poruk. It's probably my dad's Poruk spell. So if we remember, Conchame, I believe, had used Poruk during his fight with Levi and Hanage Boo, which I think was because he took their vial for a little bit. I could be wrong if that was, maybe he was able to use it for a different reason. But, I think his Poruk is kind of gone, but his dad's Poruk is still there being stolen. And we see a little picture of Momon's map. We have a few icons here. One is a spike ball. One, I think, is for Bianco's frog slime spells. The other, I'm not... Actually, the other might well be Wanrei, because it kind of looks like a tiger eye. So that is interesting. Okay. This also might be a good chance to find out more about the demons that are being held prisoner, thinking of his own family. Got it. We're on our way. Of course, we're going to need to bring some of our strongest members along for this one. Tio, Umagan, and Brago all need to be there. Brago is just like sitting on this throne with Sherry, who I think the implication, which is pretty funny, is that Sherry is on this call and she is holding out the phone for Brago to listen to. Oh, and Korokyu's going to come too. And there's another strong demon here who can bounce back from damage and has some real firepower. Think you could go get his book owner? I could not guess who this was going to be at this point. Sure thing. I'll look into it by checking the data that Dr. Riddle's left for us. I've got a match. She's in Mexico, but I don't think I've ever met her. He never met her. I wonder if the Majestic 12 are the ones who handled liberating her back then. Gives us a little hint as to... Narrows it down a little, the part about liberating. I'll see if Vino can dig up some more information. Boom, Mexico. Sparing no time here. We are now in Mexico, the world-renowned setting of Saw 10, Mexico. I guess this would be... Would it be orange? Would it be orange if this was in the anime? We don't know. We'd have to wait and see. But yeah, that is definitely a good question of, well, what is so special about Conchame's dad's Poruk to make it worth all this risk, right? Because it's like, yeah, Poruk is useful, but doing all this for it, it's got to have something special. You're right. It's got to have some kind of special aspect to it. How long have I been going? 33. Okay, I'll try to wrap this up in about 7 minutes or so. I think that should be... We should be able to make that. I don't see any photos of the person in this data that Vino just sent. Wait, what's this? According to Second Sight's investigative report, so Second Sight being one of the Majestic 12, because this data is from Dr. Riddles, it's the eerie woman who's in front of the mountain at Mechatachos Park. Is that a real park? I'm not sure. I didn't look it up. Does he mean that woman? There is a woman dancing in front of a boombox. And it is Dahlia, Belgium EO's partner, pretty clearly. She's singing a song, I think, offering to take people to the Alps for 10,000 yen, so targeting Japanese tourists. I don't know how many of them there are in Mexico. But that must be her. Dahlia, Angie has been secured. So they don't actually tell readers who may have forgotten in this chapter that this is Belgamio's partner. But yes, anyone who remembers, she is a creepy lady who was the partner of the very popular character Belgam EO. Could be said that we are bringing back kind of our like second or third meme character. Well, Coral Q, kind of a meme character. Belgam EO, kind of a meme character. Who else did we kind of get that was like surprising to see early on because they're more of a comedic character? I'm not... I guess, the big one is Victorine, who we have not seen yet. But there's definitely kind of a theme of we're getting the funny characters before we're getting a lot of the, before we're getting Wanrei, before we're getting Kid, before we're getting Ted. Though Ted's been discussed, so there you go. Mechatachos is a fake park. Okay, interesting. At least it wasn't Mechatacos. That would be politically incorrect. So she continues to sing about taking people to the Himalayas. I'm honestly not really sure what if the point is just that she's like such a scammer that she's offering to take people to mountains on a tour of mountains that are not in Mexico. I guess kind of might be the joke. That's what I think is going on. Is she's like kind of trying to scam people. Meanwhile, in America, tomorrow's the big day. We're finally off to the demon world, B. This is Coral Q and Grub. I'm a little nervous, but let's give it our all, yeah? By the way, Grub, I made a really good friend in the demon world while you and I were apart, B. Oh, yeah? What's your friend's name? Ikadoran. With a name like that, I can't help but picture them as some sort of slimy squid creature. Oh, you're spot on, Grub. That's exactly right, B. He really is a squid, and he's awfully slimy, B. He can be a bit messy at times, but I trust him with my life, B. He's the one who taught me the meaning of true friendship, the kind that would never betray each other, no matter what, B. So I imagine, I forget if I said this like the first time we kind of saw Coral Q. I kind of imagine his voice as sounding almost exactly like the way I'm doing it. So like no robot effect. I think is like the funniest way to imagine it, that it sounds like a human doing a robot a little bit. I think that's the funniest way to imagine his voice. But I'm not overdoing the robot just because I think that's also too much. Oh, and also, I'm kind of dating someone now. Are you serious? Way to go. What's the lucky demon's name? Her name's Mechaloon, B. It's sort of embarrassing to talk about for some reason, B. But if those two are some of the survivors out there, then they're the ones I'd want to save first. Even in the dark and dismal ruins of the demon world, I'm positive those two would be like a beacon of light for us all, and put the biggest smiles on everyone's faces, he says with stars in his eyes. Bah, bah, bah. Meanwhile, at Bamfro Castle in the demon world, first time seeing this, crazy kind of Minas Morgul, Lord of the Rings castle with a giant dragon head that's part of it. Really cool looking. The kind of thing you'd think we would get a rec drawn spread for, but maybe next chapter, who knows. God damn it! Listen and listen good. You may all be demons, but you're traitorous demons who have sworn allegiance to Belial Sama. To all of you who have betrayed your comrades to save your own sorry hides, you are all scum, the lowest of the low, disgusting filth that has no right to live! So, what is your duty? To defeat the demons who try to steal the spell vials from the castle, sir. So they know people are coming. Correct. You're all lily-livered scoundrels who have no problem hunting down members of your own kind. The lowest of the low. Did a good job translating this bit here, Zatch Bell Gamer. You, slimy squid creature, state your name. So this guy, I'd bet you anything, is inspired, obviously generally by the kind of, shouting military instructor thing, but that entire archetype comes from the movie Full Metal Jacket, where the actor Arlie Ermey plays a famous drill sergeant who is always screaming at and insulting people. This guy has like cute little wings on the side of his head, and his neck is massive. Ikadoran! There he is. That's Ikadoran. He does indeed look like a squid. We saw Squid Momoto, Millennium Momoto, I think whose name was Ikageso. I don't know why I remember that. But he was one of the real background Millennium Momoto, one of the ones who really didn't matter at all. So, hold on a sec. Okay. So that's Ikateron. He has betrayed Coral Q, I hate to say. Which I think any reader who kind of had some media literacy saw coming from how the flowery language that Coral Q was using. A fine name for someone like you. The lowest of the low. Yes, a perfect fit. You there behind him. State your name. Mechaloon! So we see what looks a lot like a female Coral Q, with these like very like not dexterous, just like blocks for arms. They're just one. It's just a line. It's just a line block that comes out from her arms. And she has like a little speaker with a keyboard on her chest, which I think is based on, we know the Coral Q is named after some kind of a toy keyboard from Japan. And she has pigtails. So, sorry, Mechaloon, Coral Q's love interest, also a betrayer. Fancy and cute. There's a goddamn traitorous robot girl in our ranks, and her name is Mechaloon. You, behind her, state your name. Okay, Coral Q only talked about 2 people, so who's this third one? Go Free! It is Go Free, also called Go Fure by a lot of people who watch the dub. Who was a cute dog, Momoto, in the original series, who Zatch made friends with before he promptly betrayed Zatch, before getting beaten by Brago, and once a traitor, always a traitor. Here he is, he's back, betraying his own kind now, instead of just Zatch. And now he has a dog head, but he has like a really buff body. It's very funny to look at. He has like pretty much the exact same head as he had, just with the buff body. This happened to the monkey guy from Animaland, also looked like this when he grew up. And yeah, I did notice that Mechaloon also, they share that in common with Voloon Loon, who was the female Vulcan 300. So the loon thing, I'm not sure where that comes from exactly, but that's like a female robot signifier. What kind of piece of trash are you? A positive piece of trash. Woof, woof. No, the guy saying this. Woof, woof, woof. Woof, waka, 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 woof. So we're just on full-on comedy surprise mode now. Now Gopher's involved in this. You guys are the best of the worst. Filthy traitors, every one of you. Once you strap these bands on these bands I'm about to distribute, you'll have the ability to trigger the spell vials in a special way. So they each get these bands. Now go and slaughter those demons who have the audacity to defy Belial-sama, because you are! And they're all cheering. Those 3 and these other random Moto. The lowest of the low! So they're probably all cheering that. Okay, just about done. So, meanwhile, outside the castle on a cliff, overlooking it, Brago and Sherry are here. Seems like you can hardly contain yourself, Brago. I understand, believe me. It's not every day you get the chance to unload years' worth of pent-up anger and resentment like this. I try to do the French accent for her sometimes, I forgot. I'm not doing it this month, I guess. But that castle is massive, so it's filled to the brim with enemies. So you're going to have to pace yourself, whether you like it or not. So Brago, this is one of the funnier moments for Brago that we've seen in either series, where he's like so amped up that even though he's walking slowly along with her, he's like, I think, aggressively cracking his neck over and over again, which this would play very well in the anime. You see like the crack, crack, snap sound effects as he's moving his head. And then he's also like punching his own fists together, also probably making a ton of noise. And she's like, Brago, are you even listening? And that is where we end the chapter for this week. Chapter 36. Definitely more of, a gap chapter. We often have these in-between arc chapters where we have some plot reveals, we have some comedy, both of which we got this time. In between the arcs, which are kind of always, kind of nonstop conflict and a fight and, some plot development in some ways. So this is one of the in-between chapters. But next arc is shaping up to be good. I do want to end the stream, so I'll keep the kind of review segment of this short. I'm looking forward to storming the castle with a stronger team than we have seen previously, with a little more planning than we have seen previously. Obviously, I'm sure this is going to go great at first and then go not so great after some interesting element is introduced. My prediction is that these three silly betrayer characters are going to be, with the bracelets that they have, fairly dangerous. Oh, Amber, nice to see you. Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'll continue the review. I'll say whatever I feel like saying. Though often there's the bulk of the stream is the chapter reaction. But I appreciate the thought. So I do think they're going to be dangerous. I think they're going to put up a fight. I don't think they're going to be the main enemies of this arc, but I do think they're going to put up a fight. And Coral Q is obviously going to have some sad slash funny moments with his former friend and his former girlfriend. Maybe they'll come back around to the side. Go Fury, I don't think is going to be so lucky. Brago's on the way. He badly beat Go Fury before. Go Free. I think it's pretty clear that that's what's going to happen again. So yeah, well, you're saying it right there, Zatch Bell Gamer. So yes, no, I think Go Free might do one or two cool moves, but no, his fate is to once again get beaten, into paste by Brago now. So after the chapter, we have an advertisement for something really exciting. Actually a couple exciting things, but one that's super exciting, which is the Zatch Bell Sanrio collaboration, which is a crazy thing to see announced. I was actually very impressed and surprised that this was announced. I don't know how often Sanrio collabs happen. Sanrio is obviously a massive brand, and I'm sure they do quite a lot of collabs. But the fact that either Raiku's people reached out to them and got this going, or Sanrio reached out to Raiku's people and got this going, is kind of incredible. And so we have a look at the Sanrio, which they're just gonna have various goods, keychains, little standees, whatever, featuring the art of the Zatch Bell characters and the Sanrio characters. And so a lot of these major Zatch Bell characters have gotten Sanrio characters paired with them. And because I am a strange person who knows the names of all these characters, I will read them out. It actually says it also. Zatch is with Hello Kitty, of course. Hello Kitty's in the duffel bag from the first series. Ponygon, who is in the Gash Cafe chapter from this most recent volume that came out the same day as the chapter, which I would read. I think I'll probably save that for next stream because I recall that being a pretty dialogue heavy one. That would just keep the stream running probably over an hour, and I just wouldn't want to do that anyway. So maybe I'll get to it next time if I remember. So we have Ponygon and Pom Pom Purin, who is just kind of has a Ponygon hat on. We have Brago and Bad Bats Maru, who are both kind of dressed the same. That's a very fitting pairing. We have Wanrei and Kuromi, which is very interesting. Kuromi, one of the most, maybe in America, the most popular Sanrio character right now. Kuromi is just Lien. That's kind of the logic they went with there. I think they could have done better with that pairing, honestly. I think it's a little odd. Layla and the little twin stars, who are these two fairies, so that works very well. All three of them have magic wands. Patty and Karopi obviously makes sense since Karopi is a frog and Patty's friend Bianco is a frog. Patty, I think, probably coming up in the series pretty soon. She's one of the characters that we have not seen yet. Tia and My Melody, that was an obvious one. Conchime and Peckle obviously makes a lot of sense since Peckle and Conchime, they're both ducks. Peckle is dressed like Fulgore, though. He's not dressed like Conchime. Zeon and Pochaco. Doesn't make much sense, but whatever. Kid and Tuxedo Sam, who I think, the logic there is that Dr. Riddles wears a suit. Tuxedo Sam, who is, he's a penguin. He's mostly named Tuxedo Sam because penguins are like kind of people think they look like they're wearing tuxedos. But I guess, Dr. Riddles kind of wears a suit, so that's what's going on there. And Victorine, of course, gets in, and Cinnamoroll with his ears up, kind of V-shaped. So that is the reasoning there. So that is the Zatch Bell Sanrio collaboration. Super exciting. Definitely tells you that this is a series that is still beloved in Japan. The fact that this is happening. And then on the next extra page, we get this other really cool thing of, I forget what this is, where this is being done. It's like another merch drop thing, where they're doing merch around each arc of the series, all 4 major arcs, which is like super cool. The beginning arc, the Stone Tablets arc, the Photo arc, and the Clear arc. And we get a lot of the artwork for these, I don't know what they're going to be exactly, the merchandise, of a ton of characters from the series, major and minor. Sauron is in here. He usually doesn't get stuff. Yeah, like Carudio's in here, Rio's in here, Rodu's in here. And we get some Zatch Bell 2 things as well, which I think might potentially be made into plushies. Zatch Bell 2 plushies, which is really exciting. And they're doing a cool thing, because it says plump plush art, and then these drawings do look slightly different from the other drawings, so these may be like drawings for plushes that they plan to make, is kind of what I'm thinking. So, but it might not be that. But they're doing a cool thing where when it's the pairings from the first series, the partner is holding a small version of the Momoto, and then for the second series, the Momoto is holding or is with a small version of the partner. The grown-up Momoto is with a small version of the partner, which I like a lot. I think that's a cool way to do it. And a lot of this art is really cute. I really like the Momon one. And then we have stuff for the Clear arc. So, we're getting some kind of merch for characters that we've like never had merch for, like Acheron, Shin Shootaruk, Ponygon, Clear in both original and monster forms. And my favorites, Gorm and Mirror, are going to be in here. So that's really exciting. I don't exactly know what this is going to be, but some merch for like never before seen characters. And then, god damn it, there's another collaboration, another one. It just doesn't end. I posted the GIF on the Discord for this of Raikou approving the collaborations, and I forget what it was from, but it was just a GIF of a guy. He has the stamp in the paper, and he's just like stamping every single paper that comes in. Which this is Raikou and any collab that is offered to him. There's a theme park thing that's happening at this place, Hirakata Park in Japan, where it looks like they have a little experience there that you can do where there's some kind of thing you can walk around, maybe like a scavenger hunt. That is, the whole thing is it's made by Dr. Riddles, I guess, from what I understand from this advertisement. And then there's also special illustrations of the characters riding on a lot of the rides from this theme park. Very normal looking rides, teacups, merry-go-round. Probably not, a super great park. But pretty cool to go there and do some Zatch Bell stuff, find some Zatch Bell stuff. So that's 3 different collaborations being advertised here, along with the regular advertisement for the Mochinoki department store. So we have your name translation page, Zatch Bell Gamer. I'm not going to go through this. But yeah, you talk about the Mechaloon thing. Instead, I will leave us with a little more discussion on the chapter, a little more kind of review speculation. So one, Belgamiyo, like you mentioned, yeah, Belgamiyo is going to be involved in this. Kanchime said he wanted him because he is very hardy, which is correct. Belgamiyo is very resistant to damage. We saw this during his fight. He seemed to basically take the most damage during that fight when he bit his own tongue. And I'm really looking forward to seeing kind of what they plan to do with his character in the story. This is also a reason that we might see Patty this arc, is because in the Gash Cafe, which are kind of half canon, Belgium EO and Patty sort of struck up a friendship, where Patty was going to be a motherly figure to Belgium EO, who is a very young kid despite his insane appearance. So I am looking forward to that. I do like Belgium EO as a character. It makes a lot of sense. I think that he would, similar to Coral Q, kind of come back as a good guy helping the Mamoto. And I look forward to seeing kind of what him and Dahlia are getting up to now. So Bamfro Castle, right? Some very interesting stuff there. The castle already looks like Brago could live there. It's got this big dragon head on it, which looks, with the big horns, the curled horns, kind of looks like the emblem that's on Brago's clothing. It's called Bamfro Castle, which is kind of just similar to Brago in that way. And then Sherry says when they're walking up to it, you have years of pent-up anger to unleash. Well, what's that about? The invasion didn't happen that long ago. Braga was dead for, since the early part of the invasion. He had to get revived. Why has he been angry for years? And we see he's very angry. So what is that about? We don't really know. Maybe this used to be his family's castle. Maybe it was taken away from him. Braga was referred to as, I think it was translated as aristocrat by whoever, the scanner was. One translation of the original series. I don't know what the actual word was, but it is a very interesting word. And that does imply that there is some kind of pedigree there with Brago in the demon world. So I would bet, like many other people have, that this castle is kind of his ancestral home. We don't know if he was living here, before the battle. We don't know if maybe his family was ousted from there a long time ago, before the first battle for some reason. But that would be my guess, that this is his ancestral home, and that he will be kind of the driving force of the storming of the gates of this castle because of his vendetta and wanting to get it back. And, maybe the Mamoto who stole that castle from him, right? I'm betting it was a demons, are maybe working for Belial now with the lowest of the low, with all the traitors. So that is exciting. So yeah, next month we'll be do another chapter reaction. We'll probably have time to read the Gash Cafe for this volume 6. And before that, at some point, is going to be my ranked movie list stream for this year, where I have like 54. I think by the time I do the stream, it's going to be 56 movies to rank. It's going to take forever. My voice is going to be destroyed. I'm going to end that stream at like the quietest 2 decibel whisper because of what it's going to do to my voice. But we're doing it. That I want to do that before the next chapter comes out of Zatch Bell 2. I got a couple more movies I want to watch to complete my list. Put it in a good place where I'm ready to show it. And then I will do that stream. That's going to be probably like a 3-hour stream, for God's sakes. So that's going to be crazy. I hope a couple people will tune into that. Yeah, this would be sort of a signifier of that the Gash Cafe chapters are indeed like semi-canon. With we already had an example of this chapter of something making it into the canon with Susie being a nurse, and yeah, we'll see how much more of that comes in. So my prediction, I said, I think about 4 months ago that within 8 months, there would be either a new anime announced or an new English localization announced. And I believe we have 4, maybe even 3 months left before my prediction runs out. Someone asked me why 8 months. And I said, well, 6 doesn't give me enough time. I'm not willing to bet on 6. More than 8, 12, 14 months, that's not impressive to predict that. Why don't I predict 10 years if I'm predicting 14 months? That's not impressive to get it in within 14 months. So it's got to be 8. If I get this, I think that's pretty cool. If I correctly predict this. But we're waiting 3-4 months for one of those 2 things. Come on. the Sanrio collaboration, anything is possible. I still believe. So I think we're gonna leave it there. Excited for the next arc to happen. Thanks to everyone who watched. A very interesting chapter for some of my friends who don't follow the series to see the reaction of. Not a fight chapter, which a lot of the fights have been really awesome. Huge strength of the series is the fights. But you got to see a weird interstitial comedy chapter with some returning human friend characters. And thank you for sticking with me through it. This ended up being a pretty long stream, an hour. Not our longest, but pretty long. So really wanted to get that done tonight. So thanks to everyone for sticking with it. And hope you all have a good night, and I will see you guys